Well, the Syrian Democratic Forces are supported by the international coalition, and they are advancing from what they have claimed as their autonomous region in the federal northern part of Syria. So they're coming from Al-Hasaka province, from Al Jazeera. 2 weeks ago, we heard news that they were going to go on an all-out offensive in Raqqa. However, last week or a few days ago, they announced that they were no longer attacking ISIS in Raqqa, but they will go it's more of a U-turn to Manbij so that they can protect their backs, as they claim, so that when they can later on in the fall or by the end of summer march towards Raqqa with the help of the coalition, fighter jets, because there's a lot of coordination now taking place between the Syrian Democratic Forces that are predominantly Kurds, but it's also a coalition of Syrians. The Syrian Military Council is part of it, and the Arabs as well. There are some tribes, Arab tribes, that are also part of the Syrian Democratic Forces, the Shaita tribe and the Shammar tribe. So this coalition, the Syrian Democratic Forces with the international coalition, are marching on ISIS in Manbij as we speak now.
And we hear that many of the Arabs are skeptical as to how much they're indeed a part of that coalition. What have you discovered so far on that?
I visited this area a few weeks ago, and I spoke to most of the participants or the different factions that make up the Syrian Democratic Forces. The Arabs are part of it. However, you also have, in coordination with the Syrian Democratic Forces, some Free Syrian Army groupings, such as the the elite force that are made up of the Shaitat tribe. And the Shaitat tribe, if we recall, they've lost around 1,700 of their members fighting ISIS in Deir ez-Zor and its outskirts, and they are currently around 100 kilometers from Deir ez-Zor. It's an area that I had visited myself 3 weeks ago. They are on the front lines, the Free Syrian Army. However, there's also, in the coalition with the Syrian Democratic Forces, there are other groups such as the Raqqa rebels. There are the other FSA groups, smaller groups that are also part of this coalition. They claim to be independent from, taking orders from the Syrian Democratic Forces, as not to be seen, taking the orders from the Kurds. We know this area is quite sensitive. It's very ethnically diverse. But the Americans, as I have understood, who have set up a temporary military base, an air force base in the northern federal part of Syria in Al-Hasaka province, they are the ones who are trying as much as they can to convince the Arab tribes who have been, suffering, or who have suffered the most on the hands of ISIS in those areas, to be part of this coalition.
Carol, for 5 years, the United States has been wary of getting bogged down in a new Mideast conflict. How implicated are they in this new rebel push against ISIS?
Well, as we know, as we've heard, there are around 250 U.S. military personnel, or as they call them, boots on the ground, in that area on the front lines. Most of their work is coordination between, giving the exact coordinates for the common joint operations room, where they can give the coordinates for the fighter jets to bomb ISIS. What is difficult in fighting ISIS, and we all know, is that they booby trap everything. So what we also heard is that the Americans are training a lot of the personnel on how to remotely detonate explosives in areas that have been under ISIS control. So what we have seen on the ground is that the Americans are present, they are on the front lines, but they are more providing assistance to the PYD or the SDF in general.
And Carol Maloof, because we're running short on time, just very briefly, this claim out of Damascus that Syrian government forces have started a new offensive in Hama province on the road to Raqqa against ISIS. What should we make of it?
Well, what we see is that the coalition forces are fighting ISIS from one side, but ISIS is fighting the Syrian opposition on the other front, which is closer to Aleppo and to Hama. We have also, just as the Syrian army has announced that they are on an offensive in Hama, the Jaish al-Fatah, which is the coalition, the opposition coalition made of the Free Syrian Army, Ahrar al-Sham, and Jabhat al-Nusra, have also claimed that they are on an offensive in Aleppo. What is clear now, Francois, is that the truce has failed. The political solution seems to be off the table, and now everybody is trying to stretch their muscles on the ground to see where how much they can gain before everybody comes and tries to call everybody back on the negotiating table. So this is they're flexing their muscles now on the ground.